Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for participating with us, those of you that are watching live today on this edition of the Florida Festivals and Events Association, the Industry Insider. This program was developed in order to allow our more experienced professionals to spend some time teaching those who may be interested in the industry or interested in the particular program of work that they do, how they got to where they are and what their challenges and successes have been. If you would like more information about our organization, the Florida Festivals and Events Association, you can visit us online at www.ffea.com. We are a membership-based association for the festival and event industry in the state of Florida, and we meet our mission by providing networking and educational opportunities for those that produce festivals and events throughout the state year-round. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and roll it over to our speaker for today and ask Rick to introduce himself and talk about his business and what he does and how he got involved in this wonderful industry of ours. So, Rick, I'll go ahead and let you take it over.
Great. Thank you, Suzanne. I'm Rick Hubbard. I have something called the Kazoobie Kazoo Show, which is a family entertainment show that started way back in 1987. I had been playing in a music group, and I discovered the festival market was a great place for family entertainment. And I started doing my family entertainment shows in 1987 and have been doing them ever since, and have become very enamored of the festival industry because it brings me a wonderful audience and a wonderful opportunity to do what I do.
Excellent. That's perfect. So it seems, you've been with doing your business for a really long time, and I talk to people frequently that may have a band that's been around for a while, or an act, or some type of entertainment that they think would be perfect for the market, but a lot of times they have trouble breaking in. So what are some of the ways that you used in order to get your name out there and to be able to perform at these festivals?
Well, I use just about every marketing thing and tool that I can come up with. I do print. Of course, I have a website. I have print materials. And I've found it very, very beneficial to join organizations such as the FFEA, and I'm members of actually several other organizations that support the festival industry. And that gives you the opportunity to have one-to-one interaction and to actually meet people in a professional basis. I know that festival presenters are just deluged with people wanting to perform and wanting to participate, and it's hard to get through that clutter. So I've tried to come up with ways to get through the clutter, so to speak. I use the phone, I use the internet, email. I've even gone back to using old-fashioned mail to send out a package from time to time. And I do everything I can to find a way to interact without being a pest, because I know people are very, very busy. At some points, I've even gone as far as offering free showcases or other sort of added value things to adapt to the needs of a particular festival. So I basically do whatever it takes to sort of get my information out there, and that's really all you can do once the information is out there. Every single festival has a different set of needs, a different kind of audience, and every act may not be right for every situation. And I think a lot of entertainers need to realize that, not to take it personally if somebody says, we'd like your material, but we're not going to book you for our event. And it may be because of budgets, or it may just simply be because of the vision for their event doesn't match with what you have to offer. And so I never take it personally. In fact, I really appreciate when people say, looks like you have a really interesting act there, it looks like a lot of fun, I don't think it fits in what we're doing. And then I'll move on, and I don't have to, keep beating on a door that's not going to open. So I try to do all of the things that it takes to be a good marketing person and understand my market, which is really the first thing.
That makes a lot of sense, definitely, for sure. And I know there's definitely a lot of opportunity out there, not just in Florida, but in other areas, because you're actually based out of the state, but do quite a few events here in Florida. You mentioned that you've been in business for, I think you said, since '87. How has your business changed over the course of time?
Well, it's changed a good bit. For me, I mean, back in the '90s, the festivals were much bigger, and I was playing much bigger stages in front of much bigger audiences. I used to tour in a 40-foot motor coach with a 18-foot garage behind it carrying equipment. In fact, you're seeing it right behind me here. It's being sold this week, in fact. And I carried giant PA and lights and all kinds of things. And what I've seen over the last few years is that festivals have become more intimate. The stages that I play, they've subdivided. There's a kids stage in one area and a main stage and stuff. And so you still have the festivals with the big main stages and the big acts, but in family entertainment, I'm seeing it become a little more hands-on, a little more kids wanting to do stuff rather than watch stuff, and the stages being a little smaller and a little more, you know, less showy, more activity. And I've actually adapted my show in such a way that there's more activity, more hands-on. In fact, I even invented an entire new show that I do, a thing called Juggle Stuff, where kids get to play with stuff, because I'm finding that that's been a trend in the festival industry now. More hands-on, more activity, less stand in front of a stage and watch an act.
That's really interesting, and I think that kind of your ability and your willingness to adapt to the market really kind of explains how you've been doing what you've been doing for so long, and how you've had such tenacity in this particular industry and in the market, because we do see changes within the industry with, you know, changes in technology, and it's constant. So it's interesting to me that you're willing to change what you do and how you do it in order to be relevant and stay relevant. What would you say in your career have been your greatest successes?
Well, you know, I don't know how to qualify successes. I mean, sometimes a success for me is having an audience of only 10 people and having a absolutely wonderful 45-minute show with those 10 people. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to succeed at. You know, on the opposite end, I've produced a kazoo band with 30,000 people on stage together with Weird Al Yankovic in Cincinnati, with 30,000 people all playing kazoo together. It got national coverage. So I mean, that was huge. But and then in the other direction, I'm probably the only kazoo player that's ever been booked to perform at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. And I had a very successful run of 5 sold-out shows there back in the 90s. It's been quite some time back. But so I've had some real highlights in my career to be a family entertainer, kazoo player, comedian that I am. And I've really enjoyed those opportunities. But in all honesty, performing in front of 30,000 people is not any more a highlight than performing in front of 10 people that have a really great time.
That's awesome. What a great attitude. You're definitely in the right business, that's for sure. How about a challenge that you faced, and how something you've overcome, or you know, with these changes? I know you said you've kind of had to adapt your business, but have you had any other major challenges?
Well, not really. I think one of the biggest challenges for me has always been marketing my show, just because I do something that's totally unique and different. I chose to sort of make myself unique because I looked out in the marketplace and I said, well, there's tons of people that stand up and play Jimmy Buffett songs, or there's tons of people that just, you know, get on stage and play, you know, popular children's songs, and you know, and in the marketplace for family entertainment, you often see magicians, jugglers, ventriloquists, you know, these kind of things. And so that's easy. If you say magician or magic show, people go, oh, magic show, rabbit, hat, you know. If you say juggler, you know, people go, oh yeah, the guy with the unicycle, he's juggling. But when I say Kazoobie kazoo show, and people go, well, what's Kazoobie? Well, it's a word I made up so that I would own something in my show. Nobody else can call themselves Kazoobie. It's trademark, you know. And kazoo, well, obviously there's some kazoos in the show somehow, but what is it? So a lot of times my biggest challenge is to reach out to presenters who are trying really quickly to kind of fill up their children's stage and figure out what's going on, and explain to them what it is I actually do, and how it fits into the kind of entertainment they want. So that's really, in the marketing space, that's really been my biggest challenge. Once I get on site and get a stage and some electricity and things like that, you know, everything works from there.
Yeah, that's great. So when you're talking about how you explain to festival producers what it is that you do, what types of tools or marketing have you come up with to be able to show them that?
Nothing better than visuals. You know, I have lots of photographs. I have slideshows on my website, and of course some videos, and videos tell the story. So that's really the best way to market what I do, is for people to see it and see it in action. It's hard to read a paragraph and really encompass the amount of activity that I do.
Sure, yeah, makes sense. Before I go on with any other questions, I just want to remind anyone who's in the live audience watching today that you are able to submit any of your own personal questions to Rick, and I will ask them as they come in. We do not have access to your camera or your microphone, so the way that you'll submit questions is if you just hover over the upper right-hand side, you'll see a box of 4 squares. If you click on that box, you'll have the option to select Q&A, and just type your questions in, and they'll come over to me, and I can ask them to Rick as I see them. So I just want to remind everyone of that. And we are on a little bit of delay as well, too, so it may take me a minute to get to the question once you send it over. Rick, you and I have talked in the past about ways that you help show promoters and planners and producers to understand the entertainer side of the business and how they can use you as an asset to promoting their event. Can you kind of talk about what those ways are and things that you help those types of events with those things?
Well, that's another facet of trying to support the festival industry, and I think, you know, there are multiple levels. I've always felt like in the entertainment business, and this is a little sidebar, multiple levels of entertainment, and each one has a place in the industry. There's what I call the generic entertainment, where you like, get me a guy that plays Jimmy Buffett songs to stand over in the corner, you know, and play Jimmy Buffett songs. And you know, that's a generic level. They don't really care who it is; they just care what he does. You know, the next level is sort of the specialty act. It's like, well, give me that guy that rides the 14-foot high unicycle and juggles fire. You know, that guy. Give me the guy that plays kazoo and gives kazoos to all the kids. That's kind of a specialty act. And those 2 levels are the ones that really need to focus on understanding that they're there to support the festival industry with what they do. The third level, of course, I call the celebrity level. And that's the name acts. That's the people that, you know, you recognize their name. You know, get me Lady Gaga. You know, and those people draw people to your festival just on the basis of their own name. And you know, they don't really support the festival industry so much as the festival industry supports them. But at our level of our grounds entertainers, our family entertainers, people, specialty acts, people that do what I do, I think it's very important to communicate with festival presenters and try to understand what outcomes they're pursuing. Overall, our outcomes are always to entertain the audience, to create energy, to create movement, because a festival is sort of a self-perpetuating engine. We have vendors who pay money to be there, and those vendors need to make money in order to pay their bills, and then some of the money that comes in from the vendors is often turned back over to renting a tent or a stage and paying the entertainers to be there. So I always consider it my goal. I mean, sometimes at the end of a show, for example, I'll say, thanks for being at my show. I hope you had a fun time at my show, and hope you're enjoying being here at the festival. And hey, don't forget, right over there, you could get yourself a funnel cake or some ice cream or over there. And I've seen some people climb all the way to the top of that rock wall back there. You should get out there and give that a try. So I always take it as my point during the festival to try to support the whole festival, not just, you know, hey, everybody, here I am, and I'll be in my dressing room after it's over. So I think that's an important attitude that all the entertainers should remember, is that they're part of a big team that is making the whole thing be successful.
That's great. And speaking of a team, you also, we've talked recently about how you've taken over responsibilities for even doing entertainment programming for an event or two. And how has that really changed your perspective as an entertainer and how you interact with festival producers, since now you're kind of on both sides?
Yeah, yeah. I tell people it's every entertainer should and every festival presenter should probably both exchange positions at one time or another, because it's just amazing revelation as an entertainer for so many years to suddenly be in a position where I'm booking the entertainment for a festival and managing the stage and figuring out who's going to go on at what time and how much time they get, and having to deal with all of that is certainly been an eye-opening experience on the other side of the fence, as I find all the entertainers that have budget demands and time demands, and we need this and we need that, and I'm like, well, I can give you this and I can give you that, but I know, having all the experience of performing in festivals, I'm able to go back and say, look, I'm a performer myself, and I'm going to tell you, you don't want to do an hour show here. I'm going to give you 30 minutes because it's a festival and you need to, keep your show a little shorter. And so it is good that I can talk to people because I've been on both sides of the fence. But it's sure been a revelation to me how many people come with so many requests and demands and all of that. And then on the opposite side, yes, I understand as a performer, there are some things I just need if I'm going to get my job done. I need a place to park. I need some electricity. I need at least 5 or 10 minutes to get my electronic stuff set up and turned on and organized. So I need to get that message across to presenters that, hey, little things like giving us a little setup time between shows or having a porta potty within 100 yards of the stage is a good thing. So it's really been good for me to be on both sides of the fence, and hopefully I can do more of this. And as we did with the at the FFEA conference last summer, we had sort of a roundtable discussion, and it was great to hear everybody give their perspectives, and I think we all learned a little bit from that.
Yeah, that was awesome. We ended up having people on both sides of the table, and entertainers that offer different variety of acts and really who they target as well too. So that was kind of really cool to get everyone's perspective, and we do intend on doing something similar again this year. So I'm excited about that. And that's really the opportunity for you to be able to talk to festival and event producers. I mean, not everyone is going to be lucky enough to be in the situation that you're in, where they're going to have the ability to actually plan and program an entire event, but to be able to have the opportunity to kind of see both sides of the story, I think is what's going to make a difference when some of our newer acts who may be looking at getting booked have that opportunity to have that FaceTime with them, but also understand their challenges and successes as well too, and I think it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
I have a question from an audience member that would like to know, how many shows per year do you do right now?
Right now I'm down in the 100 to 150 shows a year range, and that's down from upwards of 250 shows a year probably 8 or 9 years ago.
You there?
Yeah, looks like we had a little internet slowdown.
Fine. I apologize about that. So I got cut off right after I asked how many shows per year do you do right now?
Yeah, in the 100 to 150 shows a year right now, and I used to do as many as 250 a year, but things have slowed down a little bit with the economy, and also I've been a little more choosy and don't go out as often as I used to.
Okay. And so do you travel all over the country, or do you stay within Southeast United States?
Well, that's another part of it. I used to travel coast to coast and border to border. I would go anywhere. I've been in most of the states performing at one time or the other. But now with the price of fuel, the price of hotels and travel and everything, it's just not as cost effective. And I've focused most of my marketing energy on the Southeast because it's accessible and less costly to go do a show. It doesn't make sense to go to California to do a show anymore, and at the prices I would have to charge to go there. So yeah, the Southeast is sort of my home now.
Right, that makes sense. So when you're looking at your calendar, do you try to, and your marketing, do you try to set a, a path so that, you're in South Florida for this month, or is it just kind of wherever it works and wherever you can get booked? If it works out, it works out, or
Well, your dream come true is always to have good routing, where you go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and with minimal travel. But I like to joke. I always tell people my agent does routing by dartboard. I just any given week I might be here and there and there and drive all over the place, and that's unfortunate. At my level of the business, you kind of have to take things where they are and go where they are. When you're a huge star and everybody knows your name, those are the guys that they got 3 or 4 tractor trailer trucks and a couple of buses, and they're the ones that know. Well, we'll play Jacksonville on Thursday, Atlanta on Friday, and Charlotte on Saturday, and Raleigh on Sunday, and they book their tours that way, and they get those efficiencies. But when you're at the specialty level of entertainment, you kind of go where the work is.
Right, sure, that makes sense. And one more last question from me, and I'll just remind audience members, if anyone does want to ask a question, you can type it in the 4 squares up at the top of your screen, and it'll be sent to me, and then I'll ask it to Rick. What advice do you have for anyone who may be just starting out, kind of in the position you were back in the 80s and looking to start to do festivals and events?
Well, so much has changed. Budgets are tighter. It's a tough thing to break into full time. I've been blessed and very lucky, combined with a lot of hard work and adaptability, to keep myself busy all these many years. You have to reach out to people if you're starting in the business. Make sure that you have your act right. Make sure you understand what you're doing. Go to some festivals and watch professionals at work and see what other people are doing, and then don't copy what they do. Do what you do, but do it. Make it unique. Make it different. Give it some sort of appeal. Remember that more and more nowadays, it's more about kids being involved and hands-on. So try to find a way to get people involved in your thing. People at a festival are not going to stop and watch you sing your heartfelt songs, very likely, because they're on their way to the funnel cake stand. So you have to kind of you have to remember, you have to reach out and engage people and be entertaining. And so that's the first thing, is get your act right and understand the market that you're building your act for. And then the next best thing to do is just get out there and perform as much as possible, and even to the point of offering to do a free showcase or a free show. Reach out to schools and community events, just to get your name out there so people know who you are and what you do, and create a little buzz. As always, get your YouTube videos up, get your website going, get your social media going, and interact with people. Make friends with other entertainers. I got to tell you this: if there's anything else you can do, make friends with me. You know why? Because I'm booked every weekend in April, every weekend in May. I'm booked 7 days a week in June, July, and August. I'm almost finished booking September and most of October. And I'm getting calls and emails every day, and they're going, "Oh, you're not available on Labor Day?" Booked up that weekend. But I just met a guy who's a really good singer and entertainer, and he's breaking into the business, and I'm sure he'd be affordable and probably give you a great show. So network. I just met a wonderful singer. I'm a member of something called the Children's Entertainment or Children's Music Network, which is children's singers and songwriters. And I went to their conference last year, and I met a wonderful girl who sings and does children's educational and entertainment music down in Miami. And I actually booked her at Art Deco Weekend because of that. And we're now good friends, and whenever the opportunity comes up, I pitch her name and go, "You should give her a try." Alina Celeste, wonderful singer, entertainer. So that's one of the best things you can do is we're not all that territorial. I'm not going to. I've found that it's much better to help each other out than to defend your territory. I know people that have a booking, and you go, who's the person that books that show? And they go, I'm not telling you anything. You figure it out for yourself. But I'm not like that. I'm like, I just helped a magician friend get a summer-long job. He's got 12 shows at Kiowa Island Resort. As I told him the guy to call, how to approach him, how to price it, and which nights were available, because I play there on one of the nights of the week, and he got the job. And I know he's going to do a super good job there. They're going to love him, and that, you know, that'll reflect well on me.
Right.
And so that's we help each other out, and festival presenters should do the same thing. They should talk to each other and go, who did you get on your stage? Maybe we'll get them on our stage. Networking is the best thing in the world, and that's why the FFEA is a big part of my life for my bookings in Florida.
Awesome, great. Well, I don't have any other questions that have come in. Is there anything else that you want to say, Rick, before we wrap up for the day today?
Really enjoyed it. I love the vibrancy and energy of the FFEA. I started just over 4 years ago. In fact, I sort of incurred the very first showcases. I always thought that live showcases would be valuable, and that's one reason that I instigated doing showcases there. And I think it's been a beneficial thing for entertainers. And I really appreciate all of the hard work that you and all of the other volunteers and staff do to make these events successful and go year-round, because it's more than just a weekend in the summertime. We need to network year-round to build relationships and support each other.
Well, thank you for that. And we certainly appreciate having you as a volunteer and on our showcase committee, and hopefully doing a showcase for your new show again this year as well, too. So we appreciate it. And thank you for your time today and for your wonderful insight and knowledge today. I really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching today. Again, we're the Florida Festivals and Events Association. You can visit us online at www.ffea.com and catch up on all of our past Industry Insiders or register for a future one. We have Industry Insider the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 12:30. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.